Alright. Let us continue with our discussion under credit transactions. Diba, nung una, the part 1, na-discuss natin yung introduction and loan. Ngayon, dito tayo sa another form or kind of credit transaction which is called deposit. So, dito tayo sa Title 2 of the Civil Code o Title 12 ng ating Civil Code, deposit. So, di ba may idea naman tayo beforehand, before tayo mag-tackle ng ganitong topic, may idea tayo sa deposit, di ba? Kung narinig natin ang salitang deposit, dalawang unang pumapasok sa isip natin. Ano yung una? Yung papasok ka sa mall, di ba? Tapos bawal ang bag, bawal dumala ng ganito, bawal ang baril. So, anong gagawin mo? Sa entrance pa lang, i-deposit mo na yung item. Di ba? Yun yung unang idea natin. The second idea that we have about deposit is yung deposit sa bangko. Now, take note, deposit under the eyes of the law, yun yung pag-uusapan natin ngayon. Title 12, deposit. So, dito tayo sa Chapter 1, deposit in general and its different kinds. So, Article 1962, a deposit is constituted from the moment a person receives a thing belonging to another with the obligation of what? Safely keeping it and of returning the same. If the safekeeping of the thing delivered is not the principal purpose of the contract, then wala tayong pag-uusapan na contract of deposit because safekeeping is the primary purpose, the principal purpose. So, definition and characteristics ng contract of deposit as you have read sa inyong book, same sa mutuum and commodatum, di ba? This is a real contract. Bakit? Kasi kailangan ng delivery, di ba? Kailangan ng delivery ng subject matter for its perfection. Kasi di ba tatlo tayo meron? Consensual, real contract, and yung solemn contract. Di ba? Consensual, perfected by mere consent. Sa real contract, kailangan may delivery for its perfection. Sa solemn contract, anong kailangan? Di ba? Some form that is required by law. In this case, as with commodatum and mutuum, deposit, kailangan, di ba? Kailangan naman kasi, di ba? Anong inisip sa deposit? Ita-transfer mo yung possession. O kailangan ng delivery dyan. And next is that the contract of deposit, di ba? Pwede siyang maging gratuitous, pwede rin siyang maging onerous, di ba? For compensation. Paano gratuitous? Di ba? Maging unilateral contract lang siya. Kapag si depositary lang yung may, o si depositoryo yung may obligation. Anong obligation niya? Safekeeping. Di ba? Safekeeping. Ngayon, unilateral yan. Gratuitous. Walang hininging kapalit, walang compensation. On the other hand, kapag yan ay isang deposit for compensation, may babayaran, di ba? Si depositor, yung nag-deposit, si depositante, obligation niya bayaran yung compensation, si depositary, safekeeping ng subject matter. So, dalawa yan unilateral and bilateral. Sa unilateral, di ba? Gratuitous yan. Walang hining kapalit. Sa bilateral, magiging onerous na yan because it's for compensation. Ngayon, safekeeping, as we have said, is the principal purpose in a deposit contract. So, the principal purpose of a contract for deposit is the safekeeping of the thing. Tandaan nyo, yan yung principal, di ba? The principal purpose. Safekeeping. Basta makita yung safekeeping, deposit yan. Di ba? Of the thing delivered so that if the safekeeping is only an accessory or secondary obligation of the recipient of the thing, deposit is not constituted but some other contract like what? Lease, commodatum, or agency. So, dapat yan primary obligation, principal purpose, safekeeping para makonsider siya as deposit contract. So, ito mga additional notes dito, distinguishment ng mutuum, commodatum, and ng deposit, diba? Ang mutuum, nabubulol tayo. Ang mutuum, diba? Consumption ng subject matter. Sa deposit, principal purpose, ulitin natin para diba? Repetition is key. Safekeeping. Sa deposit, diba? The depositor can demand the return of the subject matter. Sa mutuum, the lender must wait until the expiration of the period granted to the debtor. Diba? In deposit, both movable and immovable property, pwede maging object. Sa mutuum, money and fungible things lang. Sa distinguishment, di ba? Distinctions between or the difference between deposit and commodatum naman, on the other hand, di ba? Commodatum, ano nangyari sa commodatum? Di ba? Deliver yung thing for its use lang. Di ba? And it is essentially gratuitous. Di ba? Kasi kapag hindi na yung gratuitous si comodatum, may compensation na, anong mangyayari dyan, di ba? Considered na siya as lease. Comodatum, essentially gratuitous, di ba? So, yung deposit, principal purpose safekeeping, comodatum yung transfer of use lang. Yeah? Parang inarkila ng libre, pinahiram. Deposit is may be gratuitous kasi it can also be onerous. Si comodatum, essentially is always gratuitous. In extrajudicial deposit, only movable or corporeal things may be the object, while in comodatum, both movable and immovable may be the object. Discussin natin yung part 1 pa. So, let's go now to Article 1963. Basta tandaan nyo sa deposit. Yeah? Safekeeping, real contract siya, kailangan ng delivery. It can be gratuitous, it can be onerous. Yeah? So, and yung mga pangalan ng characters or parties. Characters, di ba? Si depositor, siya yung magde-deposit. Di ba? Siya yung magte-transfer. Si depositary, siya yung tatanggap, sa kanya i-deposit. So, depositor, pamdanay siya, klaro naman, depositor, siya yung nagde-deposit. Si depositary, siya yung nag-safekeeping. Siya yung may obligation for safekeeping the subject matter of the contract. Now, let's go to Article 1963. An agreement. Yeah? An agreement to constitute a deposit is binding, but the deposit itself is not perfected until delivery. So, basically, dalawang contract yung pinag-usapan dito. Yung agreement to constitute a deposit and yung the deposit contract itself. Ang nangyayari lang, yung sa agreement to constitute a deposit is basically consensual contract. Ang nangyayari lang, you the parties, pinag-usapan niya na, in the future, i-deposit ko to sa'yo. Tapos nag-agree yung other party, si future depositary. In that case, di ba? It is a contract of future deposit lang. Pinag-usapan na, nag-agreehan lang kayo na sa future, magkakaroon kayo ng deposit contract. That is consensual lang. Pero pagdating sa actual contract of deposit, kailangan na ng delivery because real contract siya. So, let's go to Article 1964. Deposit may be constituted judicially, di ba? Through the courts or extrajudicially outside the courts. Yun yung meaning yan. So, kinds of deposit, di ba? So, deposit created by virtue of a court order or by law and not by will of the parties, di ba? This is the reason why the code employs the words constituted in defining and classifying deposit. So, may kinds of deposit tayo which we will tackle, di ba, in this session, di ba? Deposit either judicial or extrajudicial. Judicial are one which takes place when an attachment or seizure of property in litigation is ordered. So, in litigation, court yan. Extrajudicial naman, outside of the boundaries of the court, outside of the halls of the court, it can be either voluntary or necessary. Pag-usapan natin yan, di ba? Si judicial, pag-usapan natin sa articles 2005 and 2008, extrajudicial, pag-usapan natin sa next part ng discussion, Article 1967 siya. And it can be either, as we have said, voluntary or necessary. Voluntary, one as defined, one wherein the delivery is made by the will of the depositor or by two or more persons, each of whom believes himself entitled to the thing deposited. Discuss natin later on. And it is necessary, from the word itself, diba? Made in compliance with the legal obligation or on the occasion of any calamity or by travelers in hotels and inns or by travelers and with common carriers. So, di ba? Yung una ako, nakita ko bakit double L to. Tapos nakita ko sa US spelling, di ba? Isang L lang si traveler. Sa UK and Commonwealth spelling, double L siya. So, sa book natin, double L. So, let's go to Article 1965. Diba? A deposit is a gratuitous contract except when there's an agreement to the contrary or unless the depositary is engaged in the business of storing good. Diba? Sabi natin, a deposit contract can be gratuitous, can be onerous. Ngayon, ang general rule, when the problem is silent, assume that it is gratuitous. Pag nakita ang contract of deposit, wala nang ibang details, okay, that is gratuitous. Walang hininging kapalit. Yeah? Magkakaroon lang ng onerous deposit due to these exceptions. Ito yung mga exceptions, di ba? Contract of deposit, generally, gratuitous. Exceptions, when there's a contrary stipulation, pinag-agrihan mismo ng parties. Second, where depositary engage in business of storing goods, 'di ba? Yan yung primary niya, yan yung ginagawa niyang business. 'Di ba? Nakita mo yung isang party nag-engage sa business of storing goods. O since na mention 'yun, assume mo na onerous yan for compensation. May babayad si depositor kay depositary because depositary is engaged in a business of storing goods. And lastly, where the property saved from destruction without the knowledge of the owner. So, yan yung mga cases na kung saan hindi gratuitous ang contract of deposit. Ngayon, 1966, Article 1966 states that only movable things may be the object of a deposit. So, yung mga corporeal or tangible, your accounting students already know what tangible means, di ba? Can be detected by our senses yan, yeah? by our human senses. So, only corporeal or tangible, movable or personal property may be the object of extrajudicial deposit. So, dyan, yeah? Extrajudicial deposit, movable or personal property that are corporeal, yeah? Tangible, of course. So, the above provision proceeds from the object of the deposit, which is the safekeeping of a thing. The possibility that a thing may disappear or may be lost or stolen is not present in real property. Because in a real property, nandyan lang yan di ba? Standby lang yan dyan. Yan yung nature niya. Kaya nga siya tinatawag na immovable. Ngayon, kapag pag-uusapan natin yung judicial deposit, yeah, which we'll discuss in Article 205, 2005, may cover movable as well as immovable property, its purpose being to protect the things of parties to a suit. In this case kasi, pag judicial yan, yeah, tawag dito, diba na pag-usapan natin to, yung sa consignation, diba, consignation, consignation and tender payment, yung discussion natin sa diba, kung ang payment mo is delivery of land, diba, ipupunta mo yan sa custody of the court. Yeah, ganun. Para tawag ito, ma-extinguish na yung obligation mo to deliver the land. Ayaw tanggapin ni creditor. Diba? Ayaw niya tanggapin. Ni oblige, ayaw tanggapin. Either niya matanggap or cannot be seen siya. O anong gagawin mo? Para ma-extinguish na ang obligation mo. Yeah? Punta ka korte. Tender payment and consignation yung topic natin dun sa oblicon. Deposit, judicial deposit, yeah, for the safekeeping to protect the things of parties to a suit. Pero meron rin yan, yung execution. Diba? Tawag ito, garnishment and attachment. Ganyan yung mga situation sa judicial deposit natin. So, huwag nyo na masyado yung problemahin. Ito lang isipin nyo. Judicial deposit because that's very law school stuff na And madadaanan nyo sa taxation nyo. Di ba? Yung mga attachment. Later on. So, movable, immovable, 1967, an extrajudicial deposit is either voluntary or necessary. So, deposit, yeah, is generally voluntary. It becomes necessary in the three cases mentioned in Articles 1966 and 1998 and made in compliance with the legal obligation on the occasion of calamity or travelers by travelers in hotels and inns. So, the deposits of goods made by travelers or passengers with common carriers may also be regarded as necessary. So, bakit necessary? We'll discuss that later on. So, let's go to Chapter 2, Voluntary Deposit. As you can see, maikli lang si voluntary deposit. Di ba? Voluntary deposit. Maikli lang, Mesa? Joke. Yung Section 1 palang maikli. Let's go to Section 1, the general provisions of voluntary deposit. So, dito sa voluntary deposit, yeah, ano tong si voluntary deposit? Article 1968 provides for the definition. What is voluntary deposit? Voluntary deposit is that wherein the delivery is made by the will of the depositor. Kaya nga siya voluntary at the first place. Made by the will of the depositor. Ngayon, deposit may also be made by two or more persons, each of whom believes himself entitled to the thing deposited with a third person who shall deliver it in a proper case to the one to whom it belongs. So ito, basically itong first sentence yung ang main meaning ng voluntary deposit. Itong nangyari sa second sentence, medyo naging complicated ng situation dito because of nag-aagawan na sila. So, voluntary deposit wherein the delivery is made by the depositor. Ordinarily, there are only two persons involved, di ba? Si depositor and si depositary. Sometimes, however, sometimes the depositary may be a third person. Oo, kasi may dalawang tao na nag-aaway over the ownership over the subject matter. So dito muna tayo sa sa simpleng voluntary deposit, di ba? So dito sinasabi, distinction between necessary and voluntary deposit. So pagdating sa difference sila, the chief difference between a voluntary deposit and a necessary deposit is that in the former, the depositor has complete freedom in choosing the depositary. Hence, voluntary, by his will. Wherein the latter, in the necessary deposit, there's lack of free choice in the depositor. Kasi nga, pagdating sa necessary, due to the circumstances or the context of the situation where the necessary deposit happens, walang choice, di ba? Which we malalaman natin later on. Kaya sa voluntary deposit, isipin nyo lang dyan, by the will of the depositor. Kung anong bet niya, kung anong gusto niya. So, depositor need not be the owner of thing. So, generally, the depositor must be the owner of the thing deposited, but it may belong to a person other than the depositor. Thus, a carrier, commission agent, a lessee, etc. may deposit goods temporarily in his possession considering that the contract does not involve the transfer of ownership. Because ano lang nangyayari sa contract of deposit? Transfer of possession. Remember, sa comodatum, kailangan ba si bailor? Siya yung owner? Hindi, di ba? Hindi siya kailangan. Ang kailangan lang, nasa kanya yung possession para matransfer niya, di ba? May right to transfer siya kay Bailey. Yun ang reason. Kaya, hindi kailangan ng ownership. Same dito kay deposit. Yeah? Same dito kay deposit. Hindi naman nag-involve yung transfer of ownership. Hindi naman yung tulad ng donation. Hindi naman yung tulad ng sale. Di ba? Kung saan, pag ibenta mo na, dapat ikaw may-ari niyan. Pag i-deliver mo na. Di ba? Pagdating sa deposit, no need. Because hindi naman ownership yung ita-transfer. Yung possession lang. Hence, generally, yes, the depositor, owner of the thing. But it is not needed. Because even though hindi ka ang owner, like carrier, commission agent, di ba? Lessee, pwede mong i-deposit yan. Walang problema. Yeah. For example, company car. Ikaw may hawak niyan, ikaw nagda-drive. Ikaw ba may-ari niyan? Hindi, di ba yung company? Pero kapag kailangan mo yan, di ba? Kailangan mo i-park saglit diyan sa mall. Parang deposit, di ba? Alam nga naman, hindi mo pwede gawin yan. Or ipa-valley parking. Di ba? Hindi naman transfer of ownership nangyari dyan eh. Possession lang. So, etong additional notes, di ba? Where there are several depositor before we proceed with 1969. Nice. So, two or more persons each claiming to be entitled to a thing may deposit the same with a third person who assumes the obligation to deliver to the one to whom it belongs. The action to compel the depositor to settle their conflicting claims among themselves would be in the nature of an interpleader. So, itong si third person, siya yung depositary. Siya yung may current possession ng subject matter. Let's say, kotse. Ngayon, itong may dalawang individuals, di ba? May dalawang individuals who are claiming, two or more, who are claiming na sila yung may-ari niya, na sa kanila dapat isurrender yung possession. So, inaano nila si depositary. Na si depositary, hindi niya sure kung sino yung sa kanila yung dapat may possession yan. So, kanino dapat ibigay yan. Diba? Ganyan nangyayari dyan. So, ikaw as the depositary, masakit ulo mo. Problema ka. Kasi hindi mo alam kanino mo isusurrender yan. Tapos tinatakot ka. Sige, pag hindi mo ibigay sa akin, kakasuhan kita. Sabi ng dalawa, hindi, ibigay mo sa akin, kakasuhan kita. Di ba? Nag-ano na, kinukuha nila sa'yo. Ikaw, ayaw mo mamblema na baka sa maling claimant mo ibigay. So, in this case, you can file an interpleader in the court para i-force or i-demand ng korte na yung mga claimants sa korte nila yung paglabanan. Doon malalaman kung sino yung totoong may-ari para sa kanya i-surrender, yung may right of possession. So yan yung yan yung instances where there are several depositors. Di ba? Nag-aaway-away, claimant sila, si depositary, ulitin lang natin, masakit yan masakit yan, mahirap yan para sa kanya kasi hindi niya basta-basta masurrender yan kung kanino sa kanila because baka kahabulin siya nung isang claimant na hindi naka-receive, kakasuhan siya. So, di ba, mahirap yan ang liability dyan. So, in order for him to secure his self, ang gagawin niya, punta sa korte, interpleader, para mapilitan yung mga claimants na sa korte pag-awayan yan. Sino yung may proper right of possession over the subject matter? Kung kanino dapat i-surrender, kanino dapat i-transfer, kanino dapat ibigay. So, that's the instance where there are several depositors and one depositary. So, sa interpleader yan. Let's go to 1969. Nice. So, a contract of deposit may be entered into orally or in writing. Oh, walang problema kung orally or in writing. Hindi naman sa solemn contract, di ba? Ang kailangan lang sa deposit, yeah, real contract siya. Kailangan lang ng delivery. Di ba? Walang problema kung orally on writing siya. 1970, if a person having capacity to contract accepts a deposit made by one who is incapacitated, yeah, anong mangyari? Tandaan nyo, if a person having capacity to contract accepts a deposit made by one who is incapacitated. So, si depositary, capacitated. Si depositor, incapacitated. Depositary, tandaan yung yan, kasi sa 1971, magbabaliktad yan. So, 1970, depositary is capacitated, depositor is incapacitated. Di ba? Anong idea sa incapacitated? Cannot enter into contract because he cannot give proper consent. Yeah? So, the former, the depositary who is capacitated shall be subject to all the obligations of a depositary. Oo, kahit na incapacitated yung counterpart niya, yung depositor niya. And may be compelled to return the thing by the guardian or administrator of the person who made the deposit. Kasi incapacitated na, kasi kailangan niya ng guardian niya or nag-administer sa kanya. Or by the latter himself if he acquire capacity later on. So that is the idea. Yeah? Tandaan nyo, 1970, depositary, capacitated, can enter into contract. Depositor, incapacitated, cannot enter into contract because they cannot give their consent properly. So in this case, kapag dineposit ng incapacitated sa capacitated, di ba? Matik pa rin na si capacitated depositary subject to all the obligations of being a depositary and can be compelled to return the thing by the guardian, administrator of the person who made the deposit and by the person himself kapag may capacity na sa. Yeah. 1970, as we have said, nagbaliktad dito ang situation. Bakit? Let's read. So, 1971, if the deposit has been made by a capacitated person with another who is not. Di ba? So, dito na nangyari na. Si depositor na yung capacitated, si depositary na yung incapacitated. So, ano mangyari? The depositor shall only have an action to recover the thing deposited while it is still in the possession of the depositary. Or to compel the depositary to pay him the amount by which he may have enriched or benefited himself with the thing or its price. However, if a third person who acquired the thing acted in bad faith, the depositor may bring an action against him for its recovery. So our depositary, incapacitated and depositor capacitated. So, the incapacitated depositary, gaya ng, alam na naman natin ito, yung mga minor, mga insane person, deaf mute, diba? Or yung during drunkenness, or hypnosis, does not incur the obligation of a depositary. However, he is liable for the following. Take note, di ba? Dito, si depositary, capacitated, di ba? Dito sa 1970, si depositary, capacitated, shall be subject to all the obligations depositary. Pagdating sa 1971, depositary, incapacitated, does not incur the obligations of a depositary. However, he may still be liable for the following: to return the thing deposited while still in his possession, and to pay the depositor the amount by which he may have benefited himself with the thing or its price subject to the right of any third person who acquired the thing in good faith. So, ganyan, di ba? Baliktarin nyo lang. Ulitin natin. 1970, depositor, incapacitated, depositary, capacitated. 1971, depositor, capacitated, depositary, incapacitated. So, let's go now to Section 2, obligations of the depositary. So, dito tayo ngayon sa obligations ng depositary. As you know, depositary siya yung tatanggap ng subject matter, ng object for safe keeping. Sa Section 2, doon natin pag-uusapan yung obligations ng counterpart niya, si depositor. So, depositary. Article 1972, the depositary is obliged to keep the thing safely and return it when required to the depositor or to his heirs and successors, pag namatay na siya, pag gano'n, di ba? Or to the person who may have been designated in the contract. So, gusto nila, to his best friend, mga gano'n. His responsibility with regard to the safekeeping and the loss of the thing shall be governed by the provisions of the Title 1 of this book. So, sa ano natin, sa obligation contract natin yan. If the deposit is gratuitous, this fact shall be taken into account in determining the degree of care, yeah, that the depositary must observe. So, obligations to keep the thing deposited and return it. So, ito yung mga nakalist dito, di ba? So, the safekeeping and return as stated in the article of the thing when required are the two primary. Safekeeping, yeah? Kanina pa natin sinasabi, and the return. Obviously, kaya nga dineposit sa kanya because that is only temporary. And to return the thing when required. Two primary obligations ni depositary. So, yung degree of care, paano? Ordinarily, excuse me po, the depositary must exercise over the thing deposited the same diligence as he would exercise over his property. Diba? Kung ganito mo alagaan yung property mo, ganito mo rin alagaan yung object na dineposit sa'yo. For two reasons. First one, because it is an essential requisite of the judicial relation which involves the depositor's confidence. Diba? Trust and confidence yan eh. Credit transaction ang pinag-usapan natin. So, may trust, diba? Relationship. May fiduciary dyan. Ha? Depositor's confidence in his good faith and trustworthiness. And second, because of the presumption that the depositor, in choosing the depositary, take note, diba? Voluntary deposito by will of the depositor, kung kanino niya gusto i-deposit, yeah? In choosing the depositary, took into account the diligence which the depositary is accustomed with respect to his own property. So, the depositary cannot excuse himself from liability in the event of loss by claiming that he exercised the same amount of care toward the thing deposited as he would toward his own if such care is less than that required by the circumstances. So, take note lang dito, safekeeping and return of the thing, diba? Degree of care, by default, kung paano mo inaalagaan yung sarili mong property, ganun din yung pag-aalaga mo, pag-take care mo, sa properties na dineposit sa'yo. What are the rules applicable? Diba? The liability of the depositary and for the care and delivery of the thing is governed by the rules on obligation and other articles under Title 1. Like ito, he is liable if the loss occurs through his fault or negligence, even if the thing was insured, that the loss of the thing, mga sample lang to, while in his possession, ordinarily raises a presumption of fault on his part. And ito, hindi natin move to the right. The required degree of care is greater if the deposit is for compensation than when it is gratuitous. Bakit? Bakit for compensation mas mataas ang degree of care? Binayaran ka, kapatid. Di ba? Binayaran ka. So, dapat mas diligent ka sa pagprotekta niyan. Obviously, bayad ka eh. As compared sa isang gratuitous. Out of liberality lang. Walang inihinging kapalit. Yeah? This is similar to the rule in agency and common carriers. But even if it is gratuitous, obviously, due care must still be exercised. Pero mas mataas lang yung degree kapag bayad ka. Return before specified term. The thing deposited must be returned to the depositor whenever he claims it, even though a specified term or time for such may have been stipulated in the contract. Why? Dineposit niya yan by will. Yeah? Out of his own will. Out of his own accord. Kaya ganyan. Now, let's go to Article 1973. So, Article 1973, unless there's stipulation to the contrary, the depositary cannot deposit the thing with a third person. If obviously, kasi kanya nga deposit at the first place, di ba? Sa kanya, pinagkatiwala ng depositor. Bakit niya itatransfer sa third person yung possession? Yeah, common sense lang. If deposit to the third person is allowed, pag inallow nila sa contract nila, the depositary is liable for the loss if he deposited the thing with the person who is manifestly careless or unfit. Yeah? Alam niyang careless yung tao. Alam niyang hindi niya ito magagawa properly. Si depositary, alam niya yung third person, hindi niya magagawa properly. Bakit niya dineposit pa rin sa kanya? Or transfer pa rin sa kanya yung possession? O magiging liable siya doon for loss. The depositary is responsible for the negligence of his employees. For example, di ba, business mo is pagiging depositary. Mga employees mo careless. So, nasira, nawala yung bagay na de-deposit. O, you will be responsible for that. So, obligations not to transfer deposit as provided in Article 1973. So, unless authorized by express stipulation, the depositary is not allowed to deposit a thing with a third person because what? Deposit is founded on trust and confidence. Di ba? Because this is a credit transaction. Kaya may trust and confidence rin dito. And it can be supposed that the depositor, in choosing the depositary, has taken, gaya na sinabi din kanina, into consideration the latter's qualification. Pinili niya yan kasi mapagkakatiwalaan, magandang track record, so kailangan panindigan yun ni depositary. Di ba? Pinagkatiwalaan siya ng depositor. Liability for loss. Yeah? Under Article 1973, the depositary is liable for the loss of the thing if the thing deposited if for the following, di ba? And take note, nakalagay sa book nyo, nakalagay sa book nyo is the depositor. Mali yan. Tanggalin nyo yan. Palitan nyo yan. Depositary dapat yan. Kasi kung babasahin mo, the depositor is liable for the loss of the thing deposited. Bakit? Sa kanya dineposit eh. Bakit sa depositary dineposit eh? Diba? Nandun yung possession. Bakit magiging liable si depositor? Diba? So, depositary yan. Palitan nyo yan sa book nyo. Is liable for the loss of the thing deposited when the depositary transfers the deposit with a third person without authority, although there is no negligence on his part and the third person. Yeah? Wala kang authority. Hindi naman expressly stipulated. You are not allowed to transfer to third person. Bakit mo gagawin? Yeah? You're breaking the trust. You're breaking the confidence of the depositor na meron sa'yo. Yeah? Yung trust and confidence niya sa'yo. Kahit na hindi negligent yung third person. Next is the depositary will also be liable if he deposits the thing with a third person who is manifestly careless or unfit, although authorized. Dito naman, authorized ka na i-transfer yung possession sa third person. However, bakit mo itatransfer sa isang tao na manifestly careless or unfit, na hindi kayang gawin yung kanyang trabaho? So, even in the absence of negligence, you will still be liable as the depositary. Diba? Yes, allowed ka, authorized ka to transfer to a third person. Pero bakit may bibigay sa careless na tao? Yeah. And letter C, hindi natin na pindot yung enter. So, the thing is lost, the depositary shall also be liable when the thing is lost to the negligence of his employees, whether the latter are manifestly careless or not. That is your employees. Diba? You have responsibility over them. Diba? Command responsibility, kumbaga. So, you will be liable for the negligence of your employees. Exemption from liability, the depositary is not responsible in case the thing lost without negligence of third person with whom he is allowed to deposit the thing if such third person is not manifestly careless or unfit. So, basically, yung opposite ng mga ito. Diba? Allowed siya. Diba? Allowed siya. Tapos, walang nangyari kahit na walang negligence na nangyari sa na ginawa ng third person, and that third person is not manifestly careless or unfit. So opposite lang mga ito. So in that case, kahit na mawala yan, basta authorize si depositary to transfer third person, basta walang negligence si third person, and basta hindi manifestly careless or unfit si third person, pag na-check yan silang tatlo, exemption from liability of loss si depositary. Let's go to Article 1974. Yeah. 1974, the depositary may change the way of the depositary may change the way of the deposit if under the circumstances he may reasonably presume that the depositor would consent to the change if he knew of the facts of the situation. However, before the depositary may make such change, he shall notify the the depositor thereof and wait for his decision unless delay would cause danger. So, anong maganda example nito? Yeah. Dito kasi may mangyayaring masama. 'Di ba? May mangyayaring masama kung saan madadamage or negatively apektuhan yung object. Yeah? Yung subject matter. So, in that case, kahit na hindi authorized or allowed si depositary to make any changes, he needs to do so in order to preserve the subject matter, in order to take care properly of the subject matter of the deposit contract. So, ano ang gandang example niyan? Di ba? For example, dineposit sa'yo yung kotse. Deposit. Dineposit sa'yo yung kotse. Deposit lang, ng kaibigan mo, pumunta sa ibang lugar, sabi niya, pre, dito mo na yung kotse ko, di ba? Walang problema, o deposit na yon, gratuitous. Di ba? Pero hindi ka allowed gamitin, di ba? You're not authorized to use. Diyan lang sa garahe mo, deposit niya para to take care. Di ba? In that case, nagkaroon ng warning, magkakaroon ng bagyo, so babahain sa inyo. So, alam niyo yung lugar niyo, bahain, umaabot ng shoulders, umaabot ng chest. So, yung kotse, ano mangyari doon? Pag nalubog yun sa baha, di masisira yun. So, anong gagawin mo? Di ba? Better plan is to take the car to a high ground. Di ba? To a higher ground. Kaso, you're not allowed, di ba? Hindi naman expressly stipulated na magamit mo yan. Di ba? For use. Diyan lang yan, di ba? Deposit yan hindi yan comodatum. So, in that case, anong pwede mong gawin? Di ba? You notify the depositor na, uy, pre, dadaling ko muna to sa mataas na lugar para hindi bahain dito. Di ba? And you know that the depositor would consent to that. Di ba? Magkukonsent siya dyan. Alangan naman, hayaan niya masira yung kotse niya. So, ipapadrive mo sa kanya. Ipapadrive niya sa'yo, para dalhin sa higher ground yung kotse. O in that case, walang problema. Basta ma-notify mo siya. However, pwede rin kahit walang notification. Paano? Unless delay would cause danger. Paano? Nasira yung nagkaroon ng flash flood, nawala ng signal. 'Di ba? Biglaan nangyari. Lumakas yung hangin, nawala ng signal, biglaan nangyari, tumataas ang tubig. Alangan naman hintayin mo pa yung approval ng, 'di ba? Hintayin mo pa yung consent ng depositor mo. Ikaw na mismo on your own, dali mo na sa high ground yung kotse na 'yan. Para ma-preserve yung kotse. Ganoon ka simple. 'Di ba? Hindi na kailangan notification unless delay would cause danger. Yeah? In that case, hindi na kailangan notification. Dalhin mo na agad para maligtas. Ganyan kasimple si 1974. Let's go to 1975. The depositary holding certificates, bonds, securities, or instruments which earns interest shall be bound to collect the latter when it becomes due and to take such step as may be necessary in order that the securities may preserve their value and the rights corresponding to them according to law. So, the above provisions shall not apply to contracts for the rent of safety deposit boxes. So, obligations to collect interest, obligation to collect interest on choses in action deposit. So, in this case, kapag yung subject matter na dineposit mo should earn interest, anong gagawin ni depositary? He's under the obligation to first collect the interest, di ba? Sabi ni 1975 yan. To collect the interest at it becomes due and to take such step as may be necessary to preserve its value and the right corresponding to it. May example naman tayo dito, di ba? Sa second paragraph sa book nyo. Thus, the depositary of a negotiable promissory note which have been dishonored by non-payment by the maker, ano gagawin niya? He must give notice of dishonor to the endorser. Yan, negotiable instrument na to. Under the law, endorsers to whom such notice is given are discharged from their liability. So, in that case, ganyan mangyari. Ngayon, sinabi sa second part ng 1975, yung the above provision shall not apply to contracts for the rent of safety deposit boxes. Bakit? Anong kaya yung safety deposit boxes? Diba? A contract for the rent of safety deposit boxes is not an ordinary contract of lease of things, but rather, it is a special kind of deposit. So, ito, hence, it is not to be strictly governed by the provisions of deposit because it is special kind. The prevailing rule in the US is that the relation between a bank and renting out safe deposit boxes and its customers with respect to the contents of the box is that of the bailor and the bailee. Kung mababasa nyo dito sa book nyo, di ba? The possession of a content should reasonably be considered to be in the bank, since the bank is by the nature of the contract given absolute control of access to the property and the depositor cannot gain access thereto without the consent and active participation of the bank. Basically, medyo comodatum siya. Yan si special kind of deposit, tantamount to comodatum na because may bailor bailee na tayo. Yeah? So take note of that. Ito lang, ganyan ka simple. To collect interest and to preserve its value and the right corresponding to it. 1976. Unless there's stipulation to the contrary, the depositary may commingle grain or other articles of the same kind and quality, in which case the various depositors shall own or have a proportionate interest in the mass. Dito, napakasimple eh. Parang common sense lang. For efficiency, di ba? Excuse me po. For efficiency lang. Yeah? Magkakapareho naman yan eh. Same kind, same quality. Yeah? Combine nyo na. Yeah? Pagsamahan nyo, i-commingle nyo na. Wala namang problema kasi magkakapareho naman, diba? Sinandoming rice yan. O sige, combine nyo na. Ano pa ba? NFA rice yan. Walang problema, combine nyo. Basta same quality and same kind. So, ang mangyayari lang, magkaroon lang proportionate interest yung mga depositors. Kasi, as you know, di ba? Pansin nyo, mas efficient kung gano'n yung storage kahit na as opposed sa paghiwa-hiwalay mo pa, di ba? So, may space dapat yan. O, kukulangin ka sa lugar, di ba? If inefficient use of space, much rather, or much better, combine mo na lang para makatipid sa space, para mas maayos yung pag-storage, di ba? As long as same kind and quality sila, walang problema dyan. Walang problema dyan. Ngayon, obviously, kapag hindi na same kind, hindi na same quality, doon at kailangan ng separation. So, 1977, the depositary cannot make use of the thing deposited without the express permission of the depositor. Otherwise, he shall be liable for damages. However, if when the preservation of the thing deposited requires its use, it must be used but only for that purpose. So, anong sinasabi dito sa 19... lipad yung ano. Ano sinasabi dito sa 1977? Ba, napakasimple. Anong principal purpose ng depositary? Safekeeping. Hindi naman yung use of the thing eh. Kung use of the thing yan, comodatum na yan eh. Diba? So, the depositary, since safekeeping lang yung principal purpose niyan, cannot make use of the thing deposited without the express permission of the depositor. Yeah? Otherwise, he shall be liable for damages. Pinaano ko yan sa'yo eh, for deposit lang, bakit mo gagamitin for daily drive? Di ba? You're breaking the trust. You, the depositary, is breaking the trust and confidence that the depositor has na meron sa'yo. Yeah? However, when the preservation of the thing deposited requires its use, it must be used only for that purpose. Ano magandang example yan? Balik tayo sa kotse. Diba? Alam mo yung kotse pag, diba, lalo na yung pandemic. Kapag ang sakyan, matagal na sa storage yan, hindi nagagalaw, matagal na tenga sa garahe, magiging malaking problema yan later on. Yung battery, made-deadbat. Yung mga oils, yung mga fluids within that, diba, magde-degrade yan. Yung gulong, pag hindi na jack pataas, yung gulong, maglalamp yan sa ibaba. Diba? Kung saan yung nakataas, magbubukol yan. In that case, hindi na nape-preserve ng maayos yung sakyan. Yung aircon, madudumi na yan sa loob pag hindi gumano. Di ba? Yung vents dyan. Di ba? So, in that case, in order for you to preserve the car, dineposit yan sa'yo, patakbuhin mo. Di ba? For na patakbuhin mo. Di ba? Para mag-circulate yung fluids, yung oil sa loob. Para ma-charge ng alternator yung battery. Para yung gulong mapaikot, hindi magbubukol-bukol kung saan nakapress sa ground, mga ganong bagay. So in that case, when the preservation of the thing deposited requires its use, like the car, it must be used only for that purpose, ma-preserve. In that sense, diba? Drive mo lang around subdivision para mapainit yung makina, diba? Ganun, wala problema doon. You will not be liable because your purpose in doing that, in using it, is to preserve it. Alangan hayaan mo matenga dyan, masisira yan. Mahirap na yan, mapapagastos yan. Pagdating ng pag kukunin na ni depositor, hindi na mapagana, etc., etc., lalaki pa yung problema. Might as well, for its preservation, paikutin mo around the subdivision, circulate ang oil, etc., etc. So, 1970, So, the unauthorized use by the depositary, sa 1977, the unauthorized use by the depositary would make him liable for damages, but the depositary may make use of the thing deposited even without the express permission of the depositor where such use is necessary for its preservation. But in such case, as we have said, the use is limited for that purpose only. So, kaya hindi kayo, paikutin mo lang around the subdivision. Kaya hindi mo na sabihan hindi mo na kailangan ng express permission ni depositor because you're preserving the thing naman. 1978 tayo. 1978 provides that when the depositary has permission to use the thing deposited, the contract loses the concept of a deposit, and what we have said kanina, it becomes a loan or comodatum. Except for safekeeping is still the principal purpose. The permission shall not be presumed and its existence must be proved. Diba? So, nakadepende yan when effect of permission to use is given. Kapag consumable or non-consumable. Diba? When the thing deposited is non-consumable, ano mangyari? Yeah? If the thing deposited is non-consumable and the depositary has permission to use the thing, the contract loses the character of a deposit and acquires that of a comodatum. Kasi instead of safekeeping na, ano nangyayari? Transfer of use nang nangyayari. So, despite the fact that the parties may have denominated it as deposit, unless safekeeping is still the principal purpose of the contract. Bakit? Ano sabi natin ng oblikon? Anong mas mananaig? Yung nature ng agreement, yung nature ng contract, or kung ano yung ipinangalan ng parties over that? Ano yung mas mananaig? Ano yung mas magpiprevail? Diba? Aling interpretation ang mas mag-prevail? Diba? Yung nature ng contract, yung nature ng agreement, or kung anong ipinangalan dyan ng parties. Yung nature. So, in this case, kahit na pangalanan niya nilang deposit, pero by its nature, nagiging na siya, di ba? Nagiging comodatum na siya, di comodatum yan. Ganun kasimple. Unless, safekeeping is still the principal purpose of the contract. Usually, state naman yan Kahit nang bumukhang comodatum na siya, usually state naman yan kung safekeeping pa rin yung principal purpose. On the other hand, when a thing deposited is money or consumable things, ano mangyayari? The permission to use it will result in its consumption. Obviously, kasi by its nature, di ba, consumable siya. And converts the contract into a simple loan or mutuum. So, pero, if the safekeeping is still the principal purpose of the contract, it is still a deposit, but an irregular one. Hence, it is called an irregular deposit. Now, take note, we will discuss this in 1980. Bank deposits are in the nature of irregular deposit, but they are really loans governed by the law on loans. 1980, pag-usapan natin yan kasi later on. 1979, if the depositary or the depositary is liable for the loss of the thing through a fortuitous event. Ito walang transfer to a third person to na kay depositary lang yung possession. So, magiging liable siya for the loss of the thing through fortuitous event if it is stipulated in their contract. Second, if he uses the thing without the depositor's permission, liable siya. Bad faith Ito stipulated. If he delays in its return, di ba? By delay. And lastly, if he allows others to use it, even though he himself may have been authorized to use the same. Pinagamit niya sa iba, di ba? Ba't may papagamit sa iba? Ganun kasimple. Pinagkatiwalaan ka dyan tapos ipapagamit mo sa iba. Magagalit talaga yan yung depositor niyan, di ba? You're breaking his trust and confidence. So, these are the instances where the object, under the possession of the depositary shall be liable for loss of the thing even though fortuitous event yan. Kasi 'di ba? Ano sabi sa fortuitous event? It generally renders the extinguishment of the obligation. Pero in this case, when it is stipulated uses the thing without the depositor permission, may delay, and allows others to use it, the depositary shall be liable. Let's go to 1980. 1980. Ito na yung nature ng tinatawag nating deposit sa bangko. Fixed savings and current deposits of money in banks and similar institutions shall be governed by the provisions concerning simple loan. Bakit? Bakit? Hindi, kahit na tawag natin dyan is bank deposit, by its nature, hindi siya under sa deposit, na loan deposit. But rather, it is under simple loan. Simple loan siya. Mutuom siya. Sir, bakit deposit ang tawag? Nakasanayan lang. Pero by its nature, simple loan siya. Hindi siya deposit. Yeah? Contract of loan siya eh. Deposits of money in banks. Yeah? Kayong iba sa inyo, nagulat, hindi pala si deposit, kahit tawag na deposit. Ganyan yan. Pangalan lang. By name lang siya tinatawag na deposit. Pero by its nature, it is a contract. It is a contract. It is a simple loan ng tune. Baka iba sa inyo, hindi power about that fact. So, kasi if I know, una tong na-mention sa amin sa MAS subjects namin, because we're talking about finances, doon yan una nasabi. Before nasabi sa law. Or na turo sa amin sa law. Or in this subject particularly. So, contract of loan, deposits of money in banks were fixed, whether fixed, savings, and current, doesn't matter, are really loans to a bank because the bank can use the same for its ordinary transactions and for the banking business in which it is engaged. Di ba? Simple loan, mutuom, consumable things, di ba? Sa deposit, dinideposit mo lang dyan for safekeeping. Kung ano yung sasauli sa'yo, identical. Di ba? Identical thing pa rin. Same sa cumulatum, identical thing pa rin. Pagdating sa simple loan or mutuom, since by its nature, the object is consumable, so yung mababalik lang sa'yo is the same kind quality. Di ba? Kaya, ang bank deposits, di ba? Or deposit in banks, is a contract of loan. Because, yung ibibigay mong pera sa bangko, yung i-deposit mo na pera sa bangko, hindi naman yung mababalik sa'yo actually. Di ba? Same value, same kind, same quality lang. Di ba? Money. So, bank deposits are in the nature of irregular deposit. They are really loans because they earn interest. Hence, such deposits are governed by the provisions on mutuum or simple loan and the rules on the imposition of legal interest. While the bank has the obligation to return the amount deposited, it has, however, no obligation to return or deliver the same money that was deposited because they already consume it. Diba? Because the bank can use the same for its ordinary transactions and banking business. Magpapautang sila, bank loans, or sa mga investment nila, in companies. They are consuming it. So, di mo pwedeng masabing deposit yan. Because, yung dineposit mong pera, hindi necessarily identical mababalik sa'yo. Same kind, same good, same quality lang. Like a loan, or it is really a loan, simple loan, mutuum. Take note of that. So relation of creditor and debtor, accordingly, the relation between a depositor and a bank is that of a creditor and debtor, obviously, because it is a loan, simple loan, mutuum. The depositor, which is the creditor, lends the bank, the debtor, money, and the bank agrees to pay the depositor on demand. The deposit agreement between the bank and the depositor determines the rights and obligations of the parties. Take note, bank deposits are not governed by the law on deposit, but rather, they are considered to be simple loan or mutuum. Bakit? Yes, pangalan, bank deposit. Pero by its nature, di ba? By its nature, it is a simple loan. It is a mutuum. Article 1981 and 82, pinagsabay. So, when the thing deposited is delivered and closed, when the thing deposited is delivered, closed, and sealed, the depositary must return it in the same condition, and he shall be liable for damages should the seal or lock be broken through his fault. Fault on the part of the depositary is presumed unless there's stipulation or unless there's proof to the contrary. As regards the value of the thing deposited, the statement of the depositor shall be accepted when the forcible opening is imputable to the depositary. should there be no proof to the contrary. However, the courts may pass upon the credibility of the depositor with respect to the value claimed by him. When the seal or lock is broken, with or without the depositary's fault, he shall keep the secret of the deposit. Kadikit niya si 1982, pinagsabay sila. 1982 provides that when it becomes necessary to open a lockbox or receptacle, the depositary is presumed authorized to do so if the key has been delivered to him. Yeah. Kaya binigay sa kanya. Or when the instructions of the depositor as regards the deposit cannot be executed without opening the box or the receptacle. So, anong sinasabi? Anong punto ni 1981 and 82? We're talking about things deposited, delivered, closed, and sealed. Yun yung binigay. Yeah? Like sa attache case, Weimar case, or sa receptacle, they are closed. They are sealed. Yun yung pinadeposit mo. Yeah? Basically, si depositor para make sure na safekeeping talaga. So, deposit niya na, but in a case, di ba? Or in a thing that is closed and sealed. So, ano yung mga obligations ni depositary? So, may stuck sa ngipin. Under Article 1981, the depositary has the obligation of the following. Nga, provided naman. Return the thing deposited when delivered, closed, and sealed in the same condition. Obviously. Diba? Alangan niya mapakapakialaman niya yan. Binigay sa kanya, transfer sa kanya possession, when it is closed and sealed. Bakit niya ibibigay ng naka-open na? He's breaking the trust of the depositor. Second, pay for damages should the seal or lock be broken through his fault, which is presumed unless otherwise proved. Bakit? Bakit yung presume? Unless otherwise proved. Nasa kanya yung possession eh. Nandyan nga sa kanya for safekeeping. So, pag nasira yan, sinong una mong i-blame? Di ba? Di si depositary. Nasa kanya eh. O, kaya nga, presume unless proved otherwise. And lastly, keep the secret of deposit when the seal is locked or broken with or without his fault. O, wag siyang marites, basically. Alam mo, kaya nga sa kanya for safekeeping eh. Don't break the trust of the depositor. Now, what is the reason for the rule? Without the rule in this article, irresponsible depositaries may violate their trust with impunity. The depositor having constituted the deposit in reliance upon the depositary's fidelity, the most elementary sense of delicacy. Diyan, nag-iba na the most elementary sense of delicacy should move the depositary to respect the secrets which the depositor desires to keep in guard. Diba? That's the reason. So, under paragraph 3, additional note, the courts may pass upon the credibility of the depositor with respect to the value of the thing deposited. Diba? In other words, the statement of the depositor is prima facie evidence only. This is necessary in view of the natural tendency to exaggerate value. So, ano meaning yan? Balikan natin. Ba? As regards to the value of the thing deposited, kung anong sinabi ni depositor na value niyan, prima facie evidence yan na yan talaga yung value. Yeah? It will be accepted. Yeah? Pero, that is only a prima facie. That presumption can be defeated by contrary evidence thereof. Kaya yan sinabi dito. Prima facie evidence only. Because of the tendency of people to exaggerate the values of their property. Ngayon, sa 1982 provides for a situation when unsealing the box is justified. When depositary justified to open, the depositary is authorized by Article 1982 to open a thing deposited which is closed and sealed when there is first presumed authority, like ito, binigay sa kanya yung susi, has been delivered to him. Bakit may di-deliver sa kanya? Diba? Bakit i-deliver kay depositary? Di para buksan niya. That's a presumption. And lastly, when it is a necessity. Yeah? Like for example, yes, it was delivered, sealed, diba? In a lockbox or sealed. Tapos, isa sa mga conditions is for the depositary to check the condition of the things inside the box. O paano niya ma-check yung condition ng mga things inside the box, which is one of his obligations in their contract, pag hindi niya bubuksan? Di siyempre, kailangan niyang buksan yon because it is a necessity. Yeah? For him to do so. Para ma-check niya yung condition. If it is his obligation under the contract. So, let's go to Article 19 1983. So Article 1983 provides that the thing deposited shall be returned with all its products, accessories, and accessions. Now, should the deposit consist of money, the provisions relative to agents in Article 1896 shall be applied to the depository. Same sa sinabi natin ng comodatum, yeah? Since the ownership of the thing, of the object, is still with the bailor, in this case, still with the depositor, sa pa rin may-ari, obviously, then, siya yung may karapatang makareceive yan because yung ownership na sa kanya. Yung possession lang nga na kay depositary. But the ownership still remains with the depositor. So, the accessories, the products, the accessions kay depositor mapupunta. Yeah? So, example, nag-deposit si depositor ng baka. Sa buntis yung baka. O, yung anak, yung offspring, sino may-ari nun? Di si depositor. Because yung baka, kung saan ang galing yung calf, yeah? Calf ba yun? Is pagmamayari ni depositor. Ganun kasimple. Ngayon, if what has been deposited is money, as stated here, yeah? The depositary has no right to make use of it. Yeah? Nandyan lang, for safekeeping Yeah, safekeeping lang. And if the depositary be in delay or has used the money without permission, he shall be liable for interest. Diba? Kasi na-apply dito ang 1896. So, let's go to 1984. Chat sa Teams. 1984. The depositary cannot demand that the depositor prove his ownership of the thing deposited. Nevertheless, should he discover that the thing has been stolen and who its true owner is, he must advise the latter, the true owner, of the deposit. Now, if the owner, in spite of such information, alam niya na, does not claim it within the period of 1 month, the depositary shall be relieved of all responsibility by what? Returning the thing deposited to the depositor. So, if the depositary has reasonable grounds to believe that the thing has not been lawfully acquired by the depositor, the former may return the same. So, anong sinasabi dito sa 1984? Yeah? Anong point nila dito? Ano nga dito sa 1984? You, the depositary, who receives a thing, hindi mo pwede require si depositor mo na siya yung totoong may-ari niyan. Siya yung may ownership siya over the thing. Diba? Kanina, commission agent, yung carriers, diba? Kasi hindi necessary yung ownership over the thing para magkaroon ng contract of deposit. As long as may right of possession ka, walang problema yan. Diba? Because, in a deposit, same with the comodatum, there's no transfer of ownership. Hence, the idea of ownership, the concept of ownership over the subject matter, generally does not matter. Diba? Kasi hindi naman ownership yung nata-transfer. Diba? Unlike donation, unlike yung sa mutuum, di ba, transfer ownership doon. Now, in this case, di ba, kaya sabi ito sa first paragraph, the depositary cannot demand the depositor prove his ownership of the thing because that is not the subject matter of the case. Di ba? So, ngayon, however, nagbigay ng instances in 1984 na kung saan, what if hindi si depositor yung totoong may-ari niyan? Di ba? Now, what if ninakaw niya lang yan sa ibang tao? Basahin natin yung second paragraph. Nevertheless, should he discover that the thing has been stolen and who its true owner is, he must advise the latter. For example, di ba? Ikaw, depositary. Pare mo, pumunta sa'yo, sabi mo, bakit yan dito? Sabi ng pare mo, pwede ba dyan muna itong motor ko? Yeah? Dyan ko muna i-park sa loob ng garahe nyo. Habang hinaayos ko pa yung garahe dun sa bahay namin, wala bang problema? Tapos nakita mo, sabi mo, ang ganda ng motor mo, ay lang cc yan. Sabi niya, 1200 pre. Oo, sport bike to Ganon, sabi niya, dyan daw muna sa'yo. As deposit for safekeeping. So ngayon, pinark niya sa loob ng bahay, umalis siya, etc. Habang nag-Facebook ka, nakita mo may post looking for a lost motorcycle. Pagkakita mo, hala, ito man yung pinadeposit sa'yo ng kumpare mo. Di ba? Tapos, chinek mo, hala, pareho rin yung plate number. So, yan. You discovered na yung dineposit sa'yo ng kumpare mo is a stolen one. Di ba? And nandun yung contact information ng true owner, yung ninakawan. So yun now, mas advise the true owner na tawagan mo, ikaw bang may-ari ng motor na to na may plate number, blah, 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 etc. sport bike? Sabi niya, hala, oo. Paano mo nalaman? Nakita mo motor ko, di ba? Sabihin mo, advice mo, nandito sa akin. Yung kumpare ko kasi, pina-deposit mo na dito, pina-safe keep. Ala, hindi ko alam na nakaw pala to. O in that case, goods na. Di ba? Now, pupunta ka second stage. If the owner, in spite of such information, i-inform mo na siya, does not claim it within the period of 1 month. Di ba? Pabebe si owner, maraming rason. Di ba? I-inform mo na kuna sa yung motor. Ayaw pa rin kunin. Lumampas ang 1 month. Kaya anong mangyayari? Para mawala yung obligation sa'yo, di ba? Wala ka ng liability, wala ka ng responsibility. The depositary shall be relieved of all the responsibility by returning the thing deposited to the depositor. Diba? Balik mo sa kumpare mo. Diba? After 1 month, ha? After 1 month. Para wala kang responsibility. Bakit? Bakit, sir? Ano yung magkaka-responsibility? Hindi man kang nakaw yan, eh. Isipin mo, kapatid. Alam mong nakaw yan. Hindi mo i-inform sa owner. Tapos sinave keep mo pa. Diba? Tapos, wala pang 1 month, binigay mo na. Alam mong nakaw yan. Alam mo ninakaw ng kumpare mo yan. Diba? Bad faith ka. So, you'll be responsible. You'll be liable. You will be responsible. Yeah? So, always exercise good faith. Yeah? So, if the depositary has reasonable grounds to believe, ito naman other scenarios of fourth paragraph, if the depositary has reasonable grounds to believe that the thing has not been lawfully acquired by the depositor, the former may return the same. Ano naman ang instances dito? Anong example dito? Same instances, motor lien. Alam mo, yung kumpare mo, yung trabaho niya, hindi enough para bumili ng Ducati. Ducati, parang tough line. High-end motorbike yan. Sa mga hindi nakakalam. Hindi enough yung trabaho niya, di ba? Para makabili ng Ducati. Pumunta sa'yo. Nagulat ka. Bakit siya may dalang Ducati? Sabi niya, pare, pwede bang dyan muna ito sa'yo, di ba? Parang deposit na yun. For safekeeping, di ba? Kasi inaayos ko pa yung garahe sa bahay. Pero ikaw, alam mo, yung kumpare mo, hindi makakabili ng Ducati. Yeah? Hindi kaya ng income niya. So, bakit siya merong ganyan? Ngayon, because of that, you have now reasonable grounds to believe that your kumpare, that the depositor unlawfully acquired that object. So, in that case, yeah, tanggi ka na. Yeah? The former may return the same. Ganun na yun. So, in such case, Article 1984, paragraphs 2, 3, 4 states the steps depositary should take to be relieved of all responsibility with respect to the thing deposited. Paragraph 2 and 4 are similar except that, take note, for the application of paragraph 2, two conditions must exist. The thing deposited must have been stolen and the depositary knows who its true owner is. Pagdating kasi sa number 4, kahit na, example, na-deposit na sa'yo, hindi mo pa natanggihan at the first place, deposit na sa'yo. Pero may reasonable grounds to believe ka na. Reasonable grounds, ha? To believe that it is unlawfully acquired. Because kumpare mo, alam mo, hindi niya kayang magbili ng Ducati. So, you may return the same. Yeah? Even though you do not know who the true owner is. Kasi ayaw mo ma-involve dyan. Di ba? 1985. 1985, when there are two or more depositors, if they are not solidary and the thing admits of division, each one cannot demand more than his share. When there is solidarity of or the thing does not admit of division, the provisions of Article 12.12 and 12.14 shall govern. However, if there is stipulation and the thing should be returned to one of the depositors, the depositary shall return it only to the person designated. So, may dalawang concepts na na-insert dito. Concept ng solidary and concept ng divisible, indivisible obligation. So, dito, yeah, mayroong two or more depositors tayo meron. So, papasok na yung concept ng solidary, tapos yung divisible object. So, ano yung mga scenario under dito? First is that, if the thing deposited is divisible, ibig sabihin, pwede siyang hatiin, i-partition, and the depositors are not solidary, ibig sabihin, joint sila. So, ano mangyayari? Alam mo na, di ba? Joint eh. Tapos, divisible pa yung object. Each one can demand only his share of proportionate share. Yeah, ganun kasimple. Ngayon, second scenario, obligation, solidary. Or the other hand, thing deposited, not divisible. Yeah? So if the obligation is solidary, meaning the depositary can return the thing deposited to any of the depositors, di ba? Or if the thing is not divisible, so hindi mo pwedeng partition yan. So pag i-return niya ni depositary yan, kailangan yung buo. Kasi nga, indivisible yan. Hindi nahati. So the rules on active solidarity among creditors shall apply to the effect that each of one of the solidary depositors, considered creditors here, they were the right to demand, may do whatever may be useful to the others but not anything which may be prejudicial to the latter. And the depositary, the debtor, kasi say may obligation, di ba, to return and safekeep, may return the thing to any one of the solidary depositors unless a demand, judicial or extrajudicial, for each return has been made by one of them, which in case should be made to him. Yeah, ganyan yung situation. Lastly, another situation that will fall under 1985 is that return to one of the depositors stipulated. So, simple lang dito, di ba? If by stipulation the thing should be returned to one of the depositors, the depositary is bound to return it only to the person designated, although he has not made any demand for its return. Eh, yun na yung designated eh. Bakit sa iba pa? Yeah? 1986. If the depositor should lose his capacity to contract after having made a deposit, the thing cannot be returned except to the person who may have the administration of his property and rights. So, dito sa instance ng 1986, basically talks about, yeah, sino-sino yung mga personalities na kung saan i-return yung object of deposit. Di ba? Depositary ka. Kanino mo dapat i-return yan? Nakadepende. First situation, as provided in Article 1972. The depositary is obliged to return the thing deposited when required to the depositor, his heirs, successors, or to the person who may have been designated in the contract, as we have said kanina. Yeah? Second, if the depositor was incapacitated at the time of the making of the deposit, yeah, incapacitated si depositor, si depositary capacitated. Sabi nito kanina, the property must be returned to his guardian or administrator, the person who made the deposit, or to the depositor himself, should he acquire capacity. Na-mention natin kanina. Itong sa third instance, ito yung pinag-usapan sa 1986. Even if the depositor had capacity at the time of the making of the deposit, but he subsequently loses his capacity during the deposit, the thing must be returned to his legal representative. Kasi dito, at the time of the making of the deposit, dito, when the contract was perfected, di ba, the depositor, may capacity pa siya. Nangyari lang yung incapacity niya after, di ba, subsequently na. Ano yung ganang example niyan? For example, depositor, nag-deposit. Later on, na-convict siya. Kasama sa accessory penalties niya is yung civil interdiction. Alam niyo naman, civil interdiction, also considered to be civil debt. Isa sa mga liberties or rights na wala sa kanya is the right to manage his properties and the right to dispose it. So in that case, kapag magkakaroon ng sulian, return, hindi sa kanya ma-return kasi wala siyang rights to property. Di ba? So in that case, the thing must be returned to his legal representative. Like for example, his wife. Di ba? Ganun kasimple. Yeah? Nakulong ka, civil interdiction, so hindi na masasauli sa'yo. You're civil interdicted already. You have no property rights. So sa legal representative mo na, isasauli yan. 1997. 1997, if at the time the deposit was made, a place was designated for the return of the thing, the depositary must take the thing deposited to such place. Diba? Kung saan yung pinag-usapan na i-return, doon. Ganun kasimple. But the expenses for transportation shall be borne by the depositor. Bakit? Because the depositor, yeah, siya yung makikinabang dyan eh. Diba? It will be beneficial to him because the place was designated. Yeah? So, siya yung magbe-bear ng expenses for that. On the other hand, If no place has been designated before the return, it shall be made where the thing deposited may be. For example, garahe ni kotse yan or motor, garahe ni depositary. It shall be made where the thing deposited may be, even if should not be the same place where the deposit was made. Yeah. Provided that there's no malice on the part of the depositary. So, yan. Just read it, etc., etc. 1988, time of return naman to. The thing deposited must be returned to the depositor upon demand, even though specified period for or time for such return may have been fixed. Di ba nasabi ito Sanin? Di ba nasabi ito kanina, di ba? Since this is voluntary deposit by will of the depositor, yeah, choice niya kung gusto niya yang makuha. Yeah, ma-return sa kanya. However, yeah, may exception dyan. Ano yun? This provision shall not apply when the thing is judicially attached while in the depositary's possession, or should he have been notified of the opposition of a third person to the return or the removal of the thing deposited. In this case, the depositary must immediately inform the depositor of the attachment or opposition. Dito na sa interpleader. Yeah, yung sinabi natin interpleader kanina. Merong another person na nagki-claim dyan. For example, yung motor, inano sa'yo ng kaibigan mo, dineposit. Ngayon, may third person. Sabi, siya din totoong may-ari. Diba? Siya din totoong may-ari. Sabi niya, wag na tanggalin dyan, wag mong ibigay sa kaibigan mo. Wag mong isauli, dyan lang sa'yo. Kasi siya yung totoong may-ari. Diba ganon? So, or, yung third person na yun, nag-file. Diba? Nag-file ng case against sa kaibigan mo. Bayad ang utang, hindi nagbabayad. Isa sa mga inattach ng korte, yung motor na nandyan sa'yo. Para if ever nanalo yung third person, pwede yang kunin ng motor, ibenta sa public auction, yung proceeds yan, ibabayad sa utang ng kaibigan mo kay third person. Kaya na-attach yan. O, yung mga ganong examples na kung saan, kahit na mag-demand si depositor, hindi mo pwedeng basta-basta i-return sa kanya kasi may proper process to follow. Okay? 1989. Unless the deposit is for valuable consideration, ibig sabihin onerous, the depositary who may have justifiable reasons for not keeping the thing deposited may, even before the time designated, return it to the depositor. Walang problema. And if the latter, the depositor, should refuse to receive it, the depositary may secure its consignation, yeah, from the court. So, may dalawang instances tayo dito. Right of the depositary. Kasi pinag-usapan natin kanina, right ni depositor to return. Di ba? Generally, yes. Di ba? Ito, kaya sabi dito. Anytime, kahit na hindi pa na-expire or dumating yung period, he can. Subject to the exceptions lang. Ngayon, let's talk about 1989 kung saan, what if si depositary gusto niya nang isauli? Ano yung mga instances na pwede? Dalawa. If it is gratuitous or it is for a valuable consideration. Onerous for compensation yan. Una, di ba? Kapag gratuitous, di ba? Walang kapalit, walang bayad. The depositary may likewise return the thing deposited notwithstanding that a period has been fixed for the deposit. If A, yeah, gratuitous siya, yeah, walang bayad, walang compensation, and B, it is for justifiable reason. Necessity of going to abroad. Diba? Ikaw, kumpare mo. Ikaw lang nag-isa sa bahay. Yung kumpare mo, dinoposit sa yung motor. Diyan daw muna sa'yo. Kaso next week, yeah, next month, lilipad ka na papuntang abroad. Magtatrabaho ka doon. O walang tao sa bahay. O sino magbabantay ng motor. O in that case, that is a justifiable reason para isauli mo na sa kumpare mo yung dinoposit niyang motor sa'yo. Di ba? Walang problema dyan. That is justifiable. Ngayon, in case the depositor refuses to receive the thing, the depositary may deposit the thing at the disposal of the judicial authority. Consignation. Yeah? Tigas ang ulong kampare mo. Sabi niya, wag mo, ayoko na, hindi pa ready yung bahay, ba't mo sasauli sa akin? Ikaw, ano naman gagawin mo dyan sa motor? Aalis ka na. Diba? Hindi mo na yung ma-safe keep. Punta ka korte, consignation, walang problema. Para yung it will that the custodia lehis, di ba? If you can still remember your oblicon, custodia lehis, it will be under the custody of the court, the custody of the law. Di ba? Consignation. Para Nandun na sa custody ng court, okay, you're free from the obligation. Extinguish na yung obligation mo. Wala nang problema, punta ka na abroad. Ngayon, mag-iibang usapan if the deposit was for valuable consideration. May compensation eh. Onerous. Anong mangyayari? If the deposit is for a valuable consideration, the depositary has no right to return the thing deposited before the expiration of the time. Wala. Designated even if he should suffer inconvenience as a consequence. Hence, he is bound by the period, and restitution before its expiration constitutes a breach of his obligation. Bayad ka eh. So, you are more obligated. 1990. So, if the depositary, by force majeure or government order, loses the thing and receives money or another thing in its place, he shall deliver the sum or other thing to the depositor. So, napakasimple, 'di ba? Dineposit sa'yo due to a force majeure, 'di ba? Bumaha or yung government order losses. Yeah? Wala kang kasalanan diyan. Yeah? Wala kang liability diyan. However, kapag may na-receive ka, understandable naman. Pag may na-receive ka receives money or another thing in its place, you are obliged to render that, to relay that to the depositor. Siya yung nawala na, hindi ikaw. Bakit ikaw makikinabang yan? Yung insurance, payout, diba? In-insure mo yan. Or nasira yan due to an accident na wala kang kasalanan o binayaran ka. Diba? O, yun ang ibibigay mo kay depositor. Diba? 1991. So, the depositor's heir who in good faith may have sold the thing which he did not know was deposited shall only be bound to return the price he may have received or to assign his rights or acts of actions against the buyer in case the price has not been paid to him. Ito yung example na yung bachelor mong tito namatay, tapos sold ang mga properties niya, may namanahan ka, tapos yung namana mo, binenta mo. Yeah? Now, later on, may naghahabol. Yung namana mo daw, na property, let's say motor, hindi pa yan sa tito mo. Dineposit lang pala sa kanya yun. Matagal na. Di ba? So, in that case, nabenta mo, wala kang problema. As long as, you're only bound to return the price he may have received, you may have received, ba, yung purchase price, or assign his right of actions against the buyer in case the price has not been paid yet. So, ganun lang. Wala kang problema. Walang problema dyan. Yeah? Basta you will do it in good faith properly. However, kapag in bad faith ka, meaning, alam mong deposited property yan, di ba? Kasi nakwento sa'yo ng tito mo. Pero tumahimik ka lang. Di ba? Tumahimik ka lang. Alam mong deposited property yan eh. Pero tumahimik ka lang, hinayaan mong mamana mo. O in that case, you'll be liable na. Yeah? So, let's go to section 3, obligations of the depositor. Kasi yung pinag-usapan natin kanina, section 2, obligations ng depositary. Ngayon yung depositor naman. So, dito, sa obligations of depositor, pero kanina, di ba, na-mention natin yung mga obligations of depositor, continuation na siguro dito to, sa section 3. Sina-mention naman natin yung iba kanina. So, Article 1992, if the deposit is gratuitous, the depositor, is obliged to reimburse the depositary for the expenses he may have incurred for the preservation of the thing. So, dito tayo may bayad, di ba? May bayad, may mga expenses na may incur. So, siyempre, may mga instances talaga na hindi yan maiiwasan. Especially, kung kailangan yung i-preserve yung thing. Di ba? Example, dineposit sa yung gas, yung kotse. O, pinapatakbo mo yung kotse. Di ba? Pinapatakbo mo yung kotse for its preservation. Yung example natin kanina, ginagamit mo mainly because for preservation. Diba? Para hindi matenga, hindi masira. O, may expenses yung may incur. Lalo, especially pagdating sa gas. So, mag-iibang usapan, depende kung anong klaseng deposit yan, contract of deposit. Whether it is for compensation or gratuitously did. So, kapag gratuitous yung deposit, the above article applies only if the deposit is gratuitous. it rests on equity. The depositor would have incurred them just the same had the thing remained with him. Without a duty of reimbursement imposed by the article, the depositor would be enriching himself at the expense of the depositary. The rule is different, Komodo. Obviously, kasi, yeah, gratuitous na nga yan eh. Wala nang hininging kapalit sa'yo si depositary. So, baka maging wais ka, loko-loko ka. Anong gagawin mo? I-deposit mo, tapos yung mga expenses, si depositary mag-incur, tapos hindi siya marireimburse. Aba, that is unfair. So, in the name of equity, the depositor shall bear the expenses. Yeah? I-reimburse niya si depositary for the expenses that he incurred in the preservation of the subject matter of the contract of deposit. As the law makes no distinction, take note, the right to reimbursement covers all expenses of preservation, whether it's ordinary or extraordinary, because these are necessary expenses. Useful expenses or those for pure luxury, or mere pleasure are not covered. Yung mga necessary lang. Ngayon, ang usapan naman kapag yung deposit is compensation, yeah, may bayad, onerous, for consideration. O ibang usapan dito. If the deposit is for viable consideration, the expenses of preservation are borne by the depositary because they are deemed included in the compensation kasama sa bayad ang assumption. There can, however, pwede rin magdagdag a contrary stipulation na for yung compensation pala for services lang. So, any additional expenses, reimburse na lang. Pwede ganon. Contrary stipulation yon. 1993, the depositor shall reimburse the depositary for any loss arising from the character of the thing deposited. Yeah? Obviously. Diba? Kasi lugi dito si depositary. Diba? Incur siya ng loss because of the depositor. However, may exceptions dito. First is that unless at the time of the constitution of deposit, the former was not aware of, hindi aware si depositor. Second exception, or was not, second exception, or was not expected to know the dangerous character of the thing, hindi nila alam, or unless he notified the depositary of the same, aware na si depositary, tinanggap niya pa rin. And lastly, or that the depositary was aware of it without advice from the depositor. So, in general rule, i-reimburse ni depositor si depositary kung saan mag-incur ng loss si depositary arising from the character of the thing deposited. Itong apat na to are the exceptions. 1994, the depositary may retain the thing in pledge until the full payment of what may be due him by reason of deposit. Ulit niya lang, another example of pledge created by operation of law. 1995, a deposit is extinguished, tanggalin letter T, upon the following: upon the loss or destruction of the thing deposited, and in case of a gratuitous deposit, upon the death of either the depositor or the subject or the depositary. So, simple naman dito, di ba? So, the cause mentioned in Article 1995, hindi yan exclusive. Kasi there are other instances where the contract of deposit is extinguished. Hindi lang itong dalawa. Not exclusive to them. Yeah? There are other causes such as what? Return of the thing. Obviously, pag na-return na yan, edi wala ng contract of deposit. Novation, di ba? Yung old contract, pinalitan ng bago. Merger. Expiration of the term. Fulfillment of the resolutory condition. Yeah? Form of extinguishment ng contract. Or ng obligation. So, hindi lang exclusive yung nakalagay dito sa number 95. Article 95. Ngayon, pagdating dito sa number 2, di ba? Pinag-usapan, in case of gratuitous deposit upon the death of either the depositary or the depositor. Ngayon, effect of death of depositor or depositary. Iba rin yung magiging application ng law kapag gratuitous yung deposit as compared kung compensation yan, onerous. If the deposit is gratuitous, the death of either the depositor or depositary extinguishes the obligation because dito, the rule is personal in nature. So, by the word extinguished, the law really means that the depositary is not obliged to continue the contract of deposit. Pagdating sa second instance, kapag yung deposit is for compensation, okay, hindi na personal yung nature dito. Why? Because may compensation na. A deposit for compensation is not extinguished by the death of either party because unlike a gratuitous deposit, an onerous deposit is not personal in nature. Yeah? Hence, kasi walang liberality dyan eh. Yeah? Hence, the rights and obligations arising therefrom are transmissible to their respective heirs, but the heirs of either party have a right the rights and obligations are transmissible, but the heirs of the parties have a right to terminate a deposit even before the expiration of the term. Oh, bakit mo sila tawag yung bakit mo sila i-burden yan? Hindi naman sila involved dyan. So, kahit na-transfer na sa kanila, they have the right to terminate the deposit. Oh, kasi hindi naman sila yung pumasok yan in the first place eh. Pero, kaya they have the right to terminate it even before the expiration of the term. So, with that said, yan yung discussion natin for voluntary deposit. We will now proceed with Chapter 3, Necessary Deposit. Another form of extrajudicial deposit. So, Article 1996, deposit is necessary. Yeah? Kasi, kanina voluntary. Ngayon, paano mo nalaman na necessary yung deposit? First, when it is made in compliance with the legal obligation. And second, when it takes place on the occasion of any calamity, such as may sunog, bagyo, baha, pillage, shipwreck, or other similar events. And kadikit niya si 1997, yeah? The deposit referred to in number 1 of the preceding article, ito, compliance with the legal obligation, shall be governed by the provisions of the law establishing it. Kasi nga, by legal obligation, di ba? And in case of its deficiency, kapag kinulang, by the rules of on voluntary deposit will act as supplementary effect. Yeah? The deposit mentioned in number 2 naman of the preceding article shall be regulated by the provisions concerning voluntary deposits and by Article 2168. Ito. So, when deposit is necessary, yeah, kailan mo mako-consider na yung isang deposit is necessary, hindi voluntary, hindi judicial. First, di ba, a deposit may be voluntary necessary, sabi natin kanina. Extrajudicial, yeah, extrajudicial deposit. First, yeah, a voluntary deposit is made, mga explanation na lang to, a voluntary deposit is made with the free will of the depositor, as we have said kanina. In a necessary deposit, as we have mentioned also, that freedom of choice is absent because of the necessity of the situation wherein such deposit is needed. Yeah? So, Article 1996 and 1997 mention two kinds of necessary deposit. Pero hindi lang yan, meron pa. The third kind is that made by the travelers in hotels or inns na mention sa 1998. And the fourth kind is that made by passengers with common carriers. Now, as you know, common carriers yan yung alam natin, mga jeep, mga motor, depende kung mahabal-habal, ganun. Tricycle, bus. As long as, ito na requirement sa common carriers, kasi may mga private carriers din tayo eh. As long as they offer themselves or they offer their services to the general public, di ba, for the use of the general public with payment, di ba, with payment or consideration. Yan, common carriers yan. Diba? As long as ino-offer nila yung kanilang services, ferrying services to the general public, general public. Ibig sabihin, available sa lahat. And, or kung sino yung makaano. And, upon payment of consideration. May bayad, obviously. Kasi may mga private carriers tayo na for private reasons lang. Private reasons for mga mga reservations, ganun, o hindi yung mga common carriers talaga, general public consideration. May idea na kayo ano yan. So, dito tayo sa necessary deposit made on the occasion of any calamity. Yung ito. So, anong nangyayari dyan? Yeah? Deposit created by accident or fortuitous event. Diba? In this type of necessary deposit, the possession of movable property passes from one person to another by accident or fortuitous through force or circumstances in which the law imposes the recipient the obligation, diba, of a bailee. So, example ito, thus, if A saves B's television set from a fire, A is supposed to be its depositary. For example, ito, na-experience ko rin to. Yung baha nung 2019, pauwi ako ng bahay nun, tapos pinark ko kasi yung sakyan sa taas, high ground. Pauwi ako nun. Lakas ng ano ng tubig, ragasa ng tubig. Tapos, pagkakita ko sa likod ko, may motor na paparating. Motorcycle, dinadala ng tubig. So, naisip ko, ewan ko, ba't tanga ako siguro that time, yeah? Nailigtas yung motor. Hinawakan ko. Kinatch ko. Pero ang lakas ng ragasan ng tubig. So yun, wala. No choice. Nabitawan ko yung motor. Alangan sumama ako. Malakas kasi yung ragasan ng tubig nun eh. Hindi ko nahawakan na mabuti yung motor. Alangan na may ano ko yung buhay ko doon. But anyways, if ever, di ba? Nangyari doon, hypothetically, nailigtas ko yung motor under my possession na ngayon, I act as a Bailey. I will now act as a Bailey. Kung saan, isi-safe keep ko na yung motor. Para si Baylor, yung may-ari ng motor, kukunin na lang sa akin. I have now the obligation as a Bailey. Because the circumstances of the case, calamity, yung motor, niragasan ng baha, di ba? Kailangan maligtas. Okay. Because the situation needs it. Kaya nandyan si necessary deposit. Yeah? So, governing rules, aside from the provisions concerning voluntary deposit, this kind shall be governed by Article 2168. Article 997, paragraph 2. Nakalagay dito. So, which reads, when during fire, flood, storm, or other calamity, property is saved from destruction by another person without the knowledge of the owner, the latter is bound to pay the former just compensation. Yeah? Quasi-contract, negotiorium, gestio. O, yun. Ngayon, dito naman, pag-usapan natin yung necessary deposits, di ba? The other kind of necessary deposit, kung saan, in compliance siya with the legal obligation. And as you have read here, di ba? Shall be governed by the provisions of the law establishing it. Kaya nga legal obligation. Kapag kulang, it will be supplemented by the provisions under voluntary deposit. So, ano yung mga obligations? Di ba? Examples ng necessary deposits in compliance with the legal obligation. First, judicial deposit of a thing, the possession of which is being disputed in litigation by two or more persons. Ito yung interpreting natin kanina. Yung two or more depositors, diba? Third person si depositary, nag-aagawan sila. So, yan. Second, the deposit with a bank or public institution of public bonds or instruments of credit payable to order bearer given in usufruct when the usufructuary does not give proper security, yeah, for their conservation. Article 586, may example lang yan. Yeah? Just read it. Deposit of a thing pledge with the creditor uses the same without authority. Those required in suits as provided in the rules of court. Those constituted to guarantee contracts with the government. In this last case, the deposit arises from the obligation of public or administrative contractor. The deposit made in compliance with law is governed primarily by provisions of such law. And in default, so I've said, the rules on will be supplemented by the rules on voluntary deposit. So, yan under sa legal obligation. Di ba ito? First, a kind of necessary deposit, occasion of calamity. Another kind, compliance with the legal obligation. Now, let's go to the third kind, involving hotels, inns. Yeah? Involving the third kind, made by travelers in hotels or inns. So, alam niyo naman ng mga hotel, di ba? Mga hotel, pati mga inns. Pero baka sa motel kayo, sanay. Na. So, Article 1998, the deposit of effects made by travelers in hotels or inns shall be regarded as necessary. The keepers of hotels or inns shall be responsible for them as depositaries, provided that notice was given to them, or to their employees of the effects brought by the guests, and that, on the part of the latter, the guests, they take the precautions which said hotel keepers or their substitutes advise relative to the care and vigilance of their effects. Mga gamit nyo na iniwan nyo sa deposit ng hotels or inns. Kaakibat ito, kadikit ng 1998 is yung 1999. The hotel keeper is liable for the vehicles, animals, and articles which have been introduced or placed in the annexes of the hotel. So, yan. So, anong sinasabi dito? Yeah? Pag nasanay kayo sa pag-hotel, sa mga inns, pwede kayo mag-deposit doon ng inyong mga gamit. Yeah? But instead of it acting as a voluntary deposit, di ba, pinili mo, what happened here is that it is going to be necessary. Why? Bakit necessary? The reason is, Kaya nga nandyan sa hotel, kaya nga nandyan sa inn, yung guests, yung travelers, is because wala sa bahay niya, wala siyang ibang mapupuntahan. Kaya siya nandyan. Diba? So, since no choice siya nandyan, may mga gamit siya, di no choice din siya kung saan siya pwede mag-deposit, mag-safe keep na mga gamit niya. Because of that being no choice for him, hindi siya magiging voluntary because it is not out of his own free will. Kaya nga nasan dyan sa hotel or inn at the first place. That is the assumption. Hence, kapag mag-deposit siya, di yung deposit niya hindi rin out of his own free will. Because at the first place, nandyan sa hotel because wala siyang ibang mapuntahan. Hence, necessary deposit yung tawag dyan, hindi voluntary. Yan yung reasoning behind it being a kind of necessary deposit. Yeah? Before keepers of or hotel of inns may be held responsible by the... Saan dito yun? Na-transfer. Before keepers of hotels or inns may be held responsible as depositaries with regard to the effects of their guests, the following elements must concur. Yeah, dapat nandito yung mga elements para maging liable sila, maging responsible sila as depositaries, yung keepers of hotels and inns. First, they have been previously informed about the effects brought by the guests. Dapat informed sila. And the latter have taken the precautions, diba, the guests have taken the precautions prescribed regarding their safekeeping. Diba? Kung in-advise sila na ganito, ganyan, dapat the guests should also follow it. Yeah? They should act with due diligence. In that case, pag na-check yung dalawa, the keepers of hotels and inns will be held responsible, magiging depositary sila ng mga effects ng mga gamit ng kanilang guests. And take note, yung second, yung 1999, diba? Extent of liability of the keepers of hotels. The liability is not only limited to the effects, loss, or damage in the hotel rooms, yeah? No choice kailangan magdala ng ng gamit ng mga travelers, yeah? Ng mga guests. Kailangan naman sila dyan, di ba? So, dapat safe keep yan sa loob ng kwarto nila. Or minsan, yung hotel, meron rin sila mga deposit boxes. Pwede rin doon ipa-safe keep. Basta yung mga effects ng dala ng guest nila. Yeah? Ngayon, what if my kotse, what if my animals or articles, yung guest niya, di ba? The hotel shall also be liable, yeah? The liability is not limited to effects, loss, or damage in the hotel rooms, but it also includes those loss or damage in hotel annexes such as garage. Diba, nag-iwan ka ng kotse dyan, nagpark ka, o kasama na dapat yan sa necessary deposits na maging liable as depositary yung keeper ng hotel or inns. Yeah? Or yung keeper ng hotel. So, additional note dito, the word travelers and guests as used by the law are synonymous. Pareho lang sila. They refer to transients, di ba? In transit na mga tao, and not to boarders. Non-transients are governed by the rules on lease. Diba? Nomads to sila. Nomads. Parang in transit to sila. Hindi sila doon nakatira, basically. So, Article 2000, 2001, and 2002, magkadikit yan. So, Article 2000, the responsibility referred to in the two preceding articles shall include the laws, itong two preceding, 1998 and 1999. The responsibility referred to in the two preceding articles shall include the loss of or injury of the personal property of the guest caused by the servants or employees of the keepers of hotels, inns, as well as strangers, but not that which may proceed from any force majeure. So the fact that the travelers are constrained to rely on the vigilance of the keeper of the hotels or inns shall be considered in determining the degree of care required of him. 2001. The act of a thief or a robber who has entered the hotel is not deemed force majeure unless it is done with the use of arms or through an irresistible force. Example, pag nakalimutan yung term na yun na burglar lang, di ba? Or through the sneak of the night, diba? Akyat bahay lang, walang na-alert, okay, hindi sila mano doon. Pero kapag robbery na yan, diba? May force na, yan, hindi maging liable ang hotel. 2002, the hotel keeper is not liable for compensation if loss is due to the acts of the guest, his family, servants, or visitors, or if the loss arises from the character of the things brought into the hotel. Kasi dito wala namang liability si hotel eh. Diba? Hindi na siya yung may ano dyan eh, may responsibility. So, when hotel keeper is liable, in the following cases, the hotel keeper is liable regardless of the amount of care exercised. Diba? First, when such incident, the loss or injury is caused by servant or employees as well as by the strangers, provided that notice has been given and proper precautions were taken. And the loss is caused by the act of a thief or robber done without the use of arms and irresistible force. Kasi dito, dapat naninigurado na si hotel na mahihirapan or mapiprevent yung mga ganitong incidents. Di ba? Without use of arms and So, sneaky, stealth, through sneak, through stealth, di ba? Mga ganun. So, dapat naging vigilant na siya. However, kapag may arms na yan, may dala ng baril, may resistible force na, di na maging liable sa hotel dyan. Kasi alam naman gawin niya dyan. Di naman siya yung military, di naman siya yung police. Alam, magpakamatay sila para lang sa gamit na yan. Mas mahalaga ang buhay, di ba? So, in that case, wala nang problema dyan. So, for in this case, the hotel keeper is apparently negligent kasi hinayaan niya mangyari instead of preventing it. So, when hotel keeper, on the other hand, is not liable. In the following cases, hindi maging liable si hotel keeper. The loss or injury is caused by force majeure like flood, fire, theft, or robbery by stranger, not by the hotel keeper's servant or employee with the use of arms or irresistible force. Unless he is guilty of fault or negligence in failing to provide against the loss of injury for its cause. And other instances, kung maging liable siya, the loss is due to the acts of the guest himself or herself, his family, servants, or visitors. Yeah? Kailangan naman may kasalanan pa si hotel dyan. Another is that the loss arises from the character of the thing brought into the hotel. So, ito, walang liability sa hotel keeper. Ito may liability si hotel keeper. Ito naman yung mga instances na wala siyang liability. So, let's go to 2003. Article 2003, the hotel keeper cannot free himself from responsibility by posting notices to the effect that he is not liable for the articles brought by the guest. Excuse me po. Any stipulation between the hotel keeper and the guest whereby the responsibility of the hotel keeper as set forth in Articles 1998 or to 2001 is suppressed or diminished shall be void. Ibig sabihin, hindi niya pwedeng bawasan yung kanyang responsibilities na binigay ng 1998 to 2001 sa kanya. Bakit? Ito. Na-mention natin ito kanina eh. The rule in this article is similar to the rule on common carriers which does not allow a common carrier to dispense with or limit his responsibility by stipulation or by posting notices. Why? It is deemed to be contrary to law, morals, and public policy. Ito yung sinabi din kanina. Yeah? Ito yun. Hotel keepers and innkeepers, in offering their accommodations to the public, practically volunteer as depositaries. Yeah? And as such, they should be subject to an extraordinary degree of responsibility for the protection and safety of travelers who have no alternative, but to rely on the good faith and care of those whom they take lodging. Diba? Inopen mo sa sarili mo ang public, kailangan na magpaputyo-putyo ka sa pag-aalaga sa kanila. Diba? So, you need to exert extraordinary degree of responsibility. Furthermore, innkeepers, by the very nature of their business, have supervision and control of their inns and the premises thereof. So, as a matter of fact, authorities are to the effect that it is not necessary in order to hold an innkeeper liable that the effects of the guest be actually delivered to him or his employees. It is enough that they are within the inn. So, because of the nature of their business, ganun kasimple, they will be depositary. Anything below that will be considered to be void. Ito yun, no? Because by the very nature of the business that they offer to the public. Yeah? It is just proper, kumbaga. The hotel keeper has a right to retain the things brought into the hotel by the guests as a security for credits on accounts of lodging and supplies and supplies usually furnished to hotel guests. So basically, this is considered to be pledge created by operation of law. Diba, hindi nakabayad si guest, tumakas, may naiwan ng mga gamit niya, okay. Pledge. He will It is given to hotel keepers to compensate them for the liabilities imposed upon them by law. The bailee in comodo 2 may likewise retain the thing loaned for damages by reason of the defects thereof. Incidentally, the acts of obtaining food or accommodation in a hotel or inn without paying thereto constitutes estapa. So, take note of that. Yeah? Kuha ka ng pagkain, food, tapos hindi mo babayaran, estapa yan. So, that's our discussion for extrajudicial deposit. Ang next na topic natin is chapter 4 na, which is the sequestration or also known as the judicial deposit. And dito sa sequestration or sa judicial deposit, kung mapapansin nyo, napakaikli lang yan, di ba? Kasi obviously, di naman ito papahabain para sa inyo because you're still in college, pero rules of court na kasi ito eh. So, pagdating nyo sa law school, mas mahaba to. Kaya dito, since for college purposes lang naman to, hindi to masyadong mahaba. So, 2005, Article 2005, a judicial deposit or sequestration takes place when an attachment or seizure of property in litigation is ordered. Ordered by who? By the court. 2006, movable as well as immovable property may be the object of sequestration. 2007, the depositary of property or object sequestrated cannot be relieved of his responsibility until the controversy which gave rise thereto has come to an end or unless the court so orders. 2008, the depositary of property sequestrated is bound to comply with respect to the same with all the obligations of a good father of a family. So, kailan nangyayari ang isang judicial deposit? Pabali naman dito. May deposit may be constituted judicially or extrajudicially. Yung extrajudicially, yung pinag-usapan natin since kanina pa. Ngayon, dito tayo sa judicially. So, the judicial deposit, diba, or sequestration, takes place when an attachment, ina-attach or seizure, kinukuha, of property in litigation is ordered by the court. For example, properties may be attached by the sheriff upon the filing of a complaint. Complaint, ito yung pinafile sa korte. Ito yung una mong pinafile para ka sa civil cases. Diba? Ito yung pinafile ng plaintiff or ng So, or a receiver, a disinterested party, may be appointed by the court to administer and preserve the property in litigation. To makikita nyo to sa makikita nyo to sa, usually, if I can still remember, mga receiver, sa kalimutan yung term, sa mga debts, sa bankruptcy law ata yun, nakalimutan, basta special laws yun nalalabas sa board exam. And, so, or personal property may be seized by the sheriff in suits of replevin or manual delivery of personal property. So, those are the cases na kung saan meron tayong judicial deposit. Will be attached by the court. Attachment yan. Diba? Or isi-seize na. Ang attachment basically mangyari, ganyan lang yan. Hindi yan magagalaw. Hindi yan magagamit. Ang seizure, kukunin na yan. Diba? The deposit is judicial because it is auxiliary to a case pending in court. Kailangan dyan lang yan. Anong auxiliary? Because it is in support for the current case pending in court. Example, nagkakaroon ng agawan ng lupa. Para ma-maintain yung diba? The purpose is to maintain the status quo during the pendency of the litigation or to ensure the right of the parties to the property in case of a favorable judgment. Diba? Nag-aagawan sila sa lupa. Yung isa, binenta yung lupa. Tapos, may pumasok ng third party, wag daw. So, ano mangyayari? I-attach yung lupa. Diyan muna yan. Walang gagalaw. Until na matapos yung case, until na matapos yung litigation, para malaman sino yung may karapatan over that. Para walang maagrabyado. We'll maintain the status quo. Freeze lahat. Freeze lahat. Ganyan yan. Ganyan yan nangyayari. Diba? Kasi madaya naman, diba? Alangan gagalaw yung property, yung subject ng litigation, alangan nyo hayaan may mangyari dyan. In order to preserve it, attach nyo. Ganyan yan. So, obligation of depositary of sequestrated property. So, the depositary of a sequestrated property is the person appointed by the court. He has the obligation to take care of the property with the diligence of a good father of family. So, yun yung degree of care na kailangan niyang i-employ. And he may not be relieved of his responsibility unless the litigation is ended or yung court na mismo magsabi kahit hindi pa ended. Yeah? So, judicial and extrajudicial deposits as distinguished from each other. Ito yung mga nila, difference sila. Kasi yung extrajudicial, yung pinag-usapan natin kanina, ngayon nasa judicial na tayo. So, yun? Cause of or origin nila. Yung judicial, by the will of the court. Kaya nga sa judicial. Extrajudicial, outside of the court yan. So, by the will of the parties, kaya hence there's a contract. Purpose. Anong purpose yan? Judicial as security and to secure the right of a party to recover in case of a favorable judgment. Maintain the status quo. Di ba? Kung sinong manalo, sa kanya pupunta. Wala, hindi gagalawin niya ng property na yan. Extrajudicial, anong cause? Custody and safekeeping of the thing. Di ba? Subject matter nila, si judicial, na-mention natin ito kanina, movable man or immovable. Kahit lupa or real properties, oo, ma-attach yan. Diba? Nag-tax naman siguro kayo. Alam niyo na yan. Diba? Sa tax remedies, nandyan yan. But generally, immovable siya. Yung inano. Extrajudicial, only movable properties. Remuneration. Judicial, always remunerated. Sa onerous siya. Extrajudicial may be compensated or not, but generally gratuitous. And whose behalf it is held? Judicial, in behalf of the person who by the judgment has a right. Sa extrajudicial, in behalf of the depositor or third person designated. So, yung distinction nilang dalawa. Ngayon, Article 2009, the last article for our discussion in deposit, yeah, as to matters not provided for this code, judicial sequestration shall be governed by the rules of court. Diba? Rules siya ng mga rules siya ng courts natin. Kaya nga rules of court. Then, mga additional notes siya ng courts natin kung saan yung ginagamit nila in their proceedings. So, that is our discussion for applicable law, deposits remedial, hence the court of applicable provisions, etc. The rules of court provide also for attachment in criminal cases. So, that ends our discussion for deposit. That's part 2 of our discussion. Our next discussion would be, the next part would be guarantee na. Yun yung part 3 natin. So, with that said, if you have any questions, ulitin ko lang, do not hesitate to chat me in Teams. With that said, bye-bye. Love you.